cows, apples, cherries, golf.
The golf deal, I mean, there were a lot of naysayers on this thing. I honestly, guys probably thought I was an optimist. I mean, I said this thing's gonna work from day one.
The Gebbers are a family of athletes focused mostly on basketball and some baseball, but not unlike other athletic families. As they get older, they pivot to golf. At this point, it's the late 1990s.
If you look around at these hills here, their father shaped a lot of these hills to be able to put orchard on them. They weren't just nice little sloping fields that came off that they threw orchards on. You know, there's a lot of hard work into creating a slope that accepted an orchard, and you know, you got to have wind through it, and you got to have the right facing places for the right crop. Sports is big in the family, and golf was kind of a natural fit.
But who would build it? Where would it go? Those questions needed answers.
My brother had a friend who knew Perry Dye, and he was coming up to Chelan to work on a project. I got in front of him and said, hey, I got some property up north, if you ever got a chance to come up. He said, sure, I'll take a drive.
You know, that took probably 7 or 8 years of fumbling around to try to get that first idea of golf started.
I was in my truck during logging season. I was running a skidder in the middle of winter, and during my lunch hour, I'd be sketching out pro formas. Does golf even work? Can we get this many people to come out to Brewster? And from those little humble beginnings, you know, working through and meeting people in the industry and getting them to come here and tell us, yeah, you know, you've kind of got a cool venue here, and then seeing the world change with, you know, the Bandons and stuff like that, and gaining more and more momentum to move forward.
Of all the thousands of acres the Gebbers and Gambles own in central Washington, the land they were working with for their golf wasn't anything like the sandy coastline of Oregon, and it had its challenges. To Cass's point, they were going slow. In 2008, they were only 3 holes in. The market crashed, and the concept of a resort in Brewster, Washington, in which people would come and stay and play golf, fish and ride horses, was put out to pasture. Then along came OB Sports, which was a management company that was founded by Orin Vincent in 1972 and had evolved into working with more than 70 courses across the country. Vincent assessed what the Gebbers had started building, but based on the topography, wasn't convinced it was a great fit.
And he came up and he said, hey, I like this dive spot. I mean, you guys have done a great job on the 3 holes. But he said, do you have anything else that could kind of contrast to this? You know, a lot of rocks and cliffs and the big granite faces and a lot of manufacturing of holes. And I said, yeah, there's a heifer pasture over here. I've never taken anyone there. I mean, it's a 2-track road and it's a miserable bugger. I mean, I have heifers out there. And he said, I want to go look at it. And we brought Orin out here and he said, time out, stop what you're doing. We need to build a golf course in these sand dunes.
They went from a rocky base with narrow corridors and Perry Dye, the son of Pete and Alice Dye, to sand, spectacular land, and a Scottish architect looking to refocus his designs on playability and fun.
Just look around. I mean, look at what we're looking at today, guys. And that's what Orin recognized. And so he really changed our thoughts on that first course to moving over to what's now Gamble.
The biggest reason for transition over here was to keep it going. The momentum of trying to do the golf resort, and us believing in David telling us that, yeah, if we build a 10 here, they're gonna come.
David McClay Kidd, at the age of 26, had built the first course at Bandon Dunes, which opened in 1999 and launched a meteoric rise to architectural relevancy. But most of his next efforts were considered too hard and drew the harsh criticism from some of his peers. In 2008, in the midst of some professional reflection, Kidd was called to Brewster by Orin Vincent. The ask was to tour the heifer pasture.
I think we both saw the potential, you know, that the site was sand, you know, on a bluff with an amazing view, and a family who think this place is super cool. Our family's been here for, generations. We want other people to think that it's cool as well, but nobody's coming to pick apples.
From cattle, apples, and cherries, golf for the Gebbers would be next. And as Kid wondered, it might just be the rock in the Columbia River that helps people discover this part of the world.
We wouldn't have built this without Orin. Sometimes I get emotional thinking about Orin, because there were times we wanted to quit as a family, and Orin kept us going because he believed in what gamble could be. And so he dragged designers in. I mean, I told you I met with Trent Jones Jr. Golfed with him. Most amazing day of my life. Went and played 18 holes with Robert Trent Jr. at Chambers Bay before it was even open. Had met, Coors and Crenshaw here. They actually looked at some sand dunes out here to build on. But when David came and Orin dragged him in here, that was a match right there, man. We knew we had the right guy. We hit it off day one.
Orin Vincent, a PGA member of the Northwest section who co-founded the AJGA and gave lessons to Elvis, died at his home in Palm Springs in October of 2021. He was 76. Next up, Gamble Sands becomes a reality. And all of those doubters, well, they're being called to the first tee.
The innovative part and doing something different, being called a little bit crazy isn't new to this family, I don't know how many times people are like, what are you doing building that golf? That's so dumb. Now they're asking me for a free round.
That's amazing.